What if I were to suggest that you play a key role in the awakening world? And that you are watching this because you have heard the call. We can start right now by opening our hearts and minds. Welcome to the awakening world.
Good evening, everybody. I am Love Coach Scott Catamas. I'm your host on the Awakening World, and welcome to our Saturday night edition. And it's going to be a really wonderful show. We've got some wonderful people with us, and you're going to learn all about Humanity's Team, one of our favorite collaborating organizations. And we're going to be talking about what does it really mean to be birthing a new world. Perfect theme for what the awakening world is all about. It's really kind of a similar way of approaching it. We all recognize that the course that humanity has been on, isn't sustainable. It's not working, and we need to change. And so a very positive way of seeing it is that we are awakening. Or another way, which I love, is that we are birthing a new world. So that's what tonight's conversation is going to be all about. Now, I want to welcome all of you that are already in our Zoom room. I see so many of our regular friends. And even though I know where all of you live by now, please go ahead and put in for our guests where you are geographically, because that's always interesting to see friends all the way from Dorina in Ecuador to Charlotte and Eleanor up in British Columbia. I also want to invite all of the people watching on Facebook to come on into our Zoom room. A big thanks to John and Summer Raymer from the Sign Network, because they have arranged for us to be out over 100 different Facebook groups and pages, which is pretty cool. So if you're watching us on Facebook, or maybe you're watching us on our YouTube channel or Ellen Steinfeld's YouTube channel, come on into our Zoom room. You can interact with us more easily, and we are going to have a whole question and answer period throughout the show. And it's easy to join us. Just go to globalpeacetribe.com, globalpeacetribe.com, and on any of the pages that you might find, and by the way, there's all sorts of different pages here, you can click on the little link here, and that takes you to the registration page. And then you register. Now, some of you might not know that we actually do 3 shows every weekend. So for example, last night, we did a show all about Ascension. What does that really mean? Of course, here's the poster for tonight's show about birthing a new world with Humanity's Team. And then tomorrow, we're going to be on the Sacred Sunday show, Sundays at 10 o'clock in the morning. We're going to be talking about our spiritual influences with Reverend Michael Beckwith and Reverend Temple Hayes and my good buddy, Jonathan Robinson. He's a best-selling author, and it's also his birthday tomorrow. And we're going to be talking about our influences. And wait till you hear what Reverend Michael has to share. It's very, very interesting. So when you register, you're going to get the links to all of our shows for the rest of the year. 3 shows every weekend. And then we have specials as well. So definitely, please do join us. All right, Humanity's Team. And I'm really grateful that with us is someone, you've seen him on Saturday Night Alive with us, and he was on my Sacred Sunday show. It's Steve Farrell. Hey, Steve. And you're muted. So while you're muted, I'll just mention
Thank
the
you
other
for
people that are going to
having
be
us.
joining us.
Okay, get myself unmuted here. Yeah, really looking forward to it. We're going to have a party here tonight. Lots of fun stuff to share.
Absolutely. And Steve has brought some of his core people that are going to be leading workshops and events as part of this big event going on, including Timothy Noah. Hello, Timothy.
Hey, Scott, thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Great
It's
to be
good to
here.
have you with us. And Dr. RowShanak, who I'm really looking forward to hearing from. She's got a really interesting topic that I know that our audience is going to relate to very, very beautifully. And then we also have, if she has her camera on, there she is waving. You know what happens is I sometimes lose people when they turn the camera off and they disappear into the crowd. There they are, Jacqueline and Dr. RowShanak, and they're
Hi.
colleagues and comrades, and we're going to learn all about some of the beautiful work they're doing. So thank you for being with us. And I see that Ken Foster just came into the room. So let me try and find him if he's got his camera on. While I'm waiting for that, we always have music on our show. He's back, one of our favorite musical artists, Shawn Gallaway, coming to us all the way from Nashville, Tennessee. Shawn was one of our favorites on Saturday Night Live. It was your first time on our new show, The Awakening World. So welcome back, Shawn. And you're also muted.
Thank you for having me, Scott. I appreciate being here.
Great to have you with us, Shawn.
Yeah, it's good to do that.
And beautiful brother Omashar, our house musician, is with us. He'll be providing us with some Omashar music.
Namaste and aloha, everybody.
And a little bit later on in the show, we're going to have Mystic Joyride, one of our favorite bands. They're doing another gig right now, but they will be joining us. And I think he came in. I entered him. There he is. Our other presenter tonight is Ken Foster, who's also a big part of the core team of Humanities team. So welcome, Ken. Glad you're with us.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here with you today.
It looks like you're still getting your camera all set up there.
Oh, you don't see the camera?
No. I said it looks like you're getting it all set up because.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So welcome. Glad you're with us. I'm going to go to Steve first, just to briefly share with us a little bit about. Tell us the story. What is Humanities team?
Humanities team. Well, Humanities team, when we started Humanities team in June 2003, actually, you call your program here the Awakened World. And the way we were describing Humanities team back then was awakening the world of oneness. So, which is still what we do, but now we share that we're making conscious living pervasive worldwide. We say by 2040, 18 years from now, and conscious living, awakening oneness, unity consciousness. These are all really the same things. It's awakening to ultimate reality. So. And your viewers probably are following the science, things like the Resonance Science Foundation, Nassim Harriman, and other research that's sharing, we're sovereign to one body is the term they like to use, more scientific terms, as opposed to what Neil Donald Walsh uses, who's a co-founder of Humanities team, more spiritual terms like we are all one with the divine, one with each other, one with life. They're actually saying exactly the same thing. So this is what Humanities team is about. And our key thing right now is what we call changing humanity's future. There's all of the hand wringing, as we know, going on all over the world because we've got climate change and we've got the Ukraine war and all of these things going on, a lot of worry. And what we're sharing is, hey, there's nothing good that comes out of worry. We're those of us on the conscious journey know that we follow the science. We understand these mystical teachings. Most of us in our own lives are living these mystical teachings, each of us in our own way. And we found, true prosperity. And in this true prosperity, of course, we can't do the kinds of things that are going on in the world today that create all the worry, where we don't steward the planet well, and where climate change gets worse, and where wars are started, and these kinds of things. We simply can't do that because where we awaken to who we really are on this everlasting journey with all of these capacities that are unlimited, we can see that we're connected to all of the beautiful life that's here. And our invitation is to nurture life, to affirm life, to support life. Those are the things we naturally do when we awaken. I'm sure that's why you call your show The Awakening World, is because we come into that. So this is what Humanity's Team is about. And we've even put a time frame on it where we've said by 2040, which was a download. We actually didn't just think that out or create that. We downloaded that we're 18 years old, because 2003, and then we're 18 years now, so we're right 50% right in the middle of this journey of Humanity's Team, where now in these next 18 years are all about just inviting people, viewers here, that where we just are more open about being conscious. We're more open about awakening. We're more open to these things that we do well, and these things that we're still challenged by on the conscious journey, because we all have things in both categories. So, and where we do that together, we create this beautiful earth with humankind, with all of the diversity that we celebrate and love and support each other together. So that's what we're doing with the Global Oneness Summit and with our master classes and all of the things that we're up to.
Beautiful. Well, thank you for being with us, and really looking forward to spending the evening with you and Ken and Timothy and your whole team that you brought together today, learning more and really having a quality conversation about what it really means to birth a new world. So great to have you with us. Thank you, Steve.
Yeah, thank you for inviting us, and all of us, your musicians, all of these my colleagues and partners that are here. Wow, we're pleased to be here.
It's fun. Well, speaking of musicians, I know that he's worked with you before, and he's with us, Shawn Gallaway. And Shawn, again, welcome back. It's great to have you on the show. And I love that you and Steve actually had already worked with each other. It's one of those small world moments.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me, and it's a pleasure to be back here. I'm excited about sharing what I have for you tonight.
All right. And what do you got for us tonight, Shawn?
Well, this is a song called A Great Wave, and I'm very good friends with a Native American elder by the name of Shahawin, Margarita Gaspard. And she travels around with the indigenous peoples and does ceremony on the ley lines of the earth. And she had, and they're doing them at the powwows now. They're bringing some of the ceremony back into the powwows. And what they're doing is they're gathering waves of energy. And it's like the ley lines of the earth are like the acupuncture meridians in our own physical bodies. And what they're doing is when they send that energy down the ley lines, it's amplifying sort of the love quotient on how we can connect to the earth and expand and that energy into the world. So I asked her if I could write her a song for the whole experience, and this is the song that I have for that.
Beautiful. Great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and just to preface it, I would invite everyone to close your eyes for a minute and to envision just a wave of energy that we're all creating together tonight. Just this beautiful wave of energy, and at the end of the song, push it out on one of the ley lines of the earth. And so we all create this wonderful wave of consciousness going out to the planet tonight. So that's awesome. So here we go. This is called A Great Wave. Stand in this sacred circle. Speak your loving intent. Let's build a wave of energy that heals with our consent, and send it along her ley lines, reaching out across the world, uniting the tribes of earth and sky in the pageant of her pearl. On a great wave of love, a great wave of joy, a great wave of freedom for all to enjoy, on a great wave of compassion to let go of our painful past and ride the sovereign waves and live in peace at last. Here in oneness at last. Mother Earth needs our prayers before this wave can start. So take a knee and lend a hand and touch her open heart, and give thanks for all she gives us, for all the good yet to come, and bless the wind that breathes us in and send it to everyone. On a great wave of love, a great wave of joy, a great wave of freedom for all to enjoy, on a great wave of compassion to let go of our painful past and ride the sovereign waves and live in peace at last. Here in oneness at last. From east to west, from north to south, from above and below, to the center, let us be here now. On a great wave of love, a great wave of joy, a great wave of freedom for all to enjoy, on a great wave of compassion to let go of our painful past and ride the sovereign waves and live in peace at last. Here in oneness at last, riding the sovereign waves, birthing the new earth at last. Everybody take a deep breath, close your eyes, and just imagine that incredible wave of love that we just created all around the earth, all through the ley lines, amplifying the love and birthing that new earth, that glorious new earth.
Shawn, I could not be more grateful for anything in this moment. I just so appreciate that beautiful song, your passionate energy, and really putting into musical form exactly what this whole show is all about. Not just tonight, but every show. So that is just awesome.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And thank you, everyone. Yep.
He'll be back. And, I want to let people know that you can check out, he's on Facebook. And tell us about what you're doing every Tuesday, you said.
Yeah, every Tuesday it's 7 o'clock Central Standard Time. I come on and play some, songs, and I'm well known for a song called "I Choose Love," and now we call it "We Choose Love," and we all come together to sing these songs together, and there's just a handful of them, and yeah, it's like I'm introducing the whole idea of that we sing together, and when we sing together, it's just I mean, imagine 50,000 people singing that song that I just sang together in a big stadium. It's I'm saying, it's like, so I'm just wanting to teach people how to, to sing again in community. And it's, so that's what we do. We sing songs and everyone knows the words at some point. And then I play new songs, and they're all consciousness raising songs and healing songs. So.
And that's Tuesdays at what time?
Tuesdays at 7:00 Central Time.
2:00 Central, 7:00 Central, which would be 5:00 Pacific, 8:00 Eastern every Tuesday. And they just tune into Facebook, and that's where they watch it.
Shawn Gallaway Music on Facebook. Yep.
Fabulous. All right, I'm going to put that into the chat box as well. And Shawn will be back with us in a little bit less than an hour. Shawn, it's great to have you.
Thank you, Scott. It was a pleasure to come back.
Oh my God, we missed you, man. We missed you. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's been a wild ride, and I'm glad to be back on the horse again. It was a little rough patch there for a while,
Well, I'm glad you're back.
Thank you.
Much love to you, bro.
Thanks, man.
Well, we're going to put together a little round table conversation now to talk a little bit more about Humanity's Team and this upcoming event, Birthing a New World. And so I'm going to bring on board some of Steve's compadres, and we'll start by bringing on Steve. And of course, you met him briefly a little bit earlier. But to tell you a little bit more about Steve, he has a fascinating background. He was a very successful business person. He started multiple high-growth technology companies in Silicon Valley, but then really dropped into wanting to follow his heart, follow the American dream, if you will, the new American dream. He left the old one behind, the old one of corporate America, and the new one, which is what this show is all about, birthing a new world. And so he co-founded Humanity's Team along with Neil Donald Walsh. Neil, of course, has been a regular on our show, and Neil's going to be on the show again on November 7th. So we're excited about that. Also part of his team that he's brought on with us is Timothy Noah. And where are you, Timothy? Here he is. And Timothy brings a beautiful background. He's a teacher of perspective, and he's all about sharing how we can think about ourselves and this world in a way that makes sense and is beneficial and uses reason. He's a developer of digital strategy and nonprofit resources at Humanity's Team, and he's also a co-producer of this Global Oneness Summit, which is going to be taking place, which we're here to learn about and to celebrate. And his featured program, the Oneness Documentary, is going to air on Monday, October 24th. So, Timothy, looking forward to learning more about the documentary that you created. Thank you. Also, as part of his core team is Jacqueline Way. And it always takes a moment for you to find people. There she is. And Jacqueline is a dedicated world changer. She is all about serving humanity with love every day. Thank you. Do it all with love. Her sole purpose, spelled S-O-U-L, is to teach and inspire and empower the hearts and minds of people globally. She's all about a global giving movement called 365 Give. It's a charitable organization created with her 3-year-old son with a simple vision to change the world. One give, one day at a time. Now, Jacqueline is also a world-renowned keynote speaker with one of the most watched TEDx talks ever, over 7 million views, of how to be happy every day, as that will change the world. So, Jacqueline, I'm really grateful to have you with us. Thank you so much. And then also on Humanity's Team that's with us is Ken Foster, Ken D. Foster, to get it correct. And he's a transformational leader, business strategist, best-selling author, and human potential expert. He's the host of Voices of Courage, a show that is syndicated in 82 countries. So I want to learn a little bit about that, Ken. He's a change maker who helps people realize who they are, unleash their power so that they can see the unseeable, know the unknowable, and do the impossible. So, wow, what an incredible team that you've got here. And I'm going to go ahead and change the agenda a little bit and bring on your other person if she's with us. There she is.
RowShanak,
Dr. RowShanak is with us. So I'm going to bring everybody up. I'm going to go right into round table. But to tell you a little bit about Dr. RowShanak, she is a credentialed computational, clinical, and behavioral neuroscientist whose work has supported the transformation of countless lives. As the founder of Access to the Path, and we want to learn more about that, she combines the power and process of science with emotional and spiritual intelligence to generate compelling and innovative strategies that help people and businesses become more purposeful, effective, and prosperous. I'll put all of that into the chat box so you all can read it, because it's a mouthful and it's powerful. Really impressed with that vision. She's an author, a speaker, a transformational leader, and consultant, and she serves a global audience with a very unique voice that both relaxes and rejuvenates, intuitively making complicated material accessible and applicable. She's been known affectionately as the people's neuroscientist. And boy, we sure do need that to be able to take this incredible wisdom that we now have about our brain and neuroscience and to help us understand how to work with it. So thank you. Thank you, everybody, for being with us. And I'm going to start just by bringing up what this is kind of all about tonight, which is celebrating your 13th annual Global Oneness Summit. So tell us a little bit about the summit, Steve, and then I'm going to ask each one of your presenters to share what they're doing or what their role is with the summit.
Great. Yeah. Thank you for sharing screen here. So you're looking now at the homepage for the summit, which, by the way, it started this morning. So we're now, if we just completed day one. So if we're looking a little amped up, that's why, big day today. We started this morning at 8:30 a.m. Pacific time with something called Shout Out Love, where it was 30 minutes of us live, just talking about the importance of love as our basis. That oneness, of course, is the form, but the basis is love, right? And in our opening panel here, we had Greg Braden and Nassim Harriman, two esteemed researchers, and they were going right into the research of Nassim Harriman. You may know, is just on the verge of announcing his unified field theory. And the panel, if you saw it this morning, he shared that just in September, the final equation that they were looking for, he and his team of science and math researchers found the final equation for alpha. And he had to almost pull him down from the ceiling. He was so high on finding this final equation. So what this says, though, the reason I'm bringing in the science is we started the Global Oneness Summit because mystics have shared over millennia, as we know, that we're all one. We've all read that. It's in sacred text all over the place. But now you've got researchers coming in and saying, and also in physics, right? The Nobel Prize was for entanglement. Entanglement is into connection and oneness, right? So science is saying that our eyes actually have been deceiving us when we think, oh, we're all separate. We're separate from each other. We're separate from the earth. We're separate from the one, which we can call the divine or cosmos, whatever word we like. And now science is saying that just isn't true. So now this is why birthing a new world, this is why awakening is, my God, why would we want to walk around in some illusion any longer when the science is in that's saying, no, you're part of this one body. That's in your everlasting life. And of course, the mediums and NDEers have been sharing this forever too, right? We go back and we're in this container of perfect love. So that's why, this isn't some like new agey thing we're talking about here. We're talking about ultimate reality. That's what the Global Oneness Summit is about. And it got off to a great start. Let me go to my partners here now, who all played huge roles in this. And by the way, Timothy and Ken Foster and Adam C. Hall were the three that really lifted the Global Oneness Summit up to a whole new height this year in its 13th year.
So go ahead and tell us a little bit about Timothy and a little bit about Ken, and then we'll hear from them.
Yeah, so Timothy, and thank you for reading the bios. Timothy plays a huge role. There's too many things that I couldn't all get to, but in the center of our strategy, when we talk about making conscious living pervasive worldwide in 18 years, is our streaming platform. We have a revolutionary streaming platform. It's called Humanity Stream Plus. And among other things, Timothy was the guy that really created that vision and made that whole thing happen. There are many other things he's doing now as well that he can, he ought to probably talk about his documentary and spiritual activism, two of the things that he brought to this year's summit.
Well, thank you, Steve, for generous introduction here, and thank you, everybody. And Ken has certainly been one of the lead producers, so not to undercut on what Ken has brought in too, but we'll get over to you, brother. I think the one thing I'd like to share with this group in reference to the summit is that, you know, I think we're all probably on the same page if you're listening to this call, that this global awakening, that not only is it a possibility, but that it's actually upon us. And so then what the implications of this might mean, you know, we're invited to really consider and show, demonstrate. And perhaps most importantly, I would say, or one of the most important things in this process for us is to translate this and share this in such a way that other audiences that may not be privy to all of this that we're tuning into can feel into this. And so my piece that I'm sharing for the Global Oneness Summit, it's called Oneness the Documentary, and it's on Global Oneness Day, which is October 24th. And of course, Steve and team were the ones who created Global Oneness Day before the summit was even a thing. So thank you for that. But the Oneness the Documentary is a sort of musical teaching complement, which goes into oneness, not just from a talking head perspective, although there is a talking head, I'm the talking head most of the time, but it's written to be a musical experience. So it's not just speaking, there's musics, there's parts of it that are entire songs. There's backtracks where I'm teaching over songs. And of course, I allude to all the other wonderful teachers in this. So I guess the one piece I'd like to share with you is a snippet from one of the songs that is featured on it. And it's called, or it starts with, planetary awakening is a fact. We're beginning to interact as if one another had one mother. Love, not undercover. Let's take a minute just to intuit to it. Wisdom is fluid, moving from all avenues into your mind, which was designed before time. Your life is more than a four-dimensional line. I'm talking about your body and history. Do you really think that's the extent of your mystery? And so that the song goes on, and I would just recommend anyone here to go to that summit page, sign up for it, check out the schedule, because there are countless programs that you would enjoy, and I'm sure your friends would enjoy. And be sure to share with your kids and maybe even your grandkids the Oneness documentary when we post that. So thank you.
Oh, fantastic. I'm going to go back to the page. I'm going to just scroll down for a moment, everybody, so you can really see visually what we're talking about. So again, it started today. Again, just go to humanitiesteam.org/global-oneness-summit. I've put it into the chat box. And look at all the amazing presenters. There's, by the way, Karen Noah, who is the mother of Timothy, who just spoke.
Hey, Mom.
And Neil Donald Walsh is a regular on our shows. Jonathan Goldman has been here, Deborah Rosman, a lot of our friends. Don Oscar is going to be on this show. We've got him scheduled for about 6 weeks from now. David Pramal and Miten have been on many times. And this is it. It started. Today is day one. And this is where you can see all the different events that are taking place: consciousness and climate change, living unbounded in business and life. I mean, a real wide variety of things. And of course, if you click here, that's where you'll see the schedule for all 10 days. And yes, we are ready to evolve together. It's all free, you guys. It's all free. So there's no reason not to go there and register. And right off the bat, a brand new video from Greg Braden and the ceremony with Nassim. And I know that Jeffrey Colebrook, one of our regulars, has been talking for quite a while about Nassim's paper coming out. And so we're all excited about that. And then these are the key hosts. And you're going to hear from Ken Foster next. Ken, be ready. I'm going to go to you in a minute. But there's Steve, there's Timothy, and then two of our other guests that are with us, Dr. RowShanak and Jacqueline Way, who we're going to hear from all of those people in the next few minutes. And Deborah Poneman's been on this show before, and so is Adam Hall. So it's all an amazingly small world as we're all co-creating together this awakening world, birthing this new world. And Ken, you're a partner. What would you like to share with our audience?
Well, I want to share this, that one of the goals for this summit was to really bring in individuals that were not just a lot of following out there. We wanted to bring in individuals that were transformational. So, for instance, day one, in my area, by the way, was bringing in experts in the business area, because what we're doing is we're creatively bringing oneness to business, of course, psychology, medicine, the environment, and so many more areas that we are finally waking up to oneness in those areas. But in the business area, we had today, I hosted the panel there with Marshall Goldsmith and Steve Rogers, who are very well known in the business area. We also have coming up Stephen M.R. Covey. We have Sharon Lecter from the Napoleon Hill Foundation. Also, she co-wrote Robert Kiyosaki's books, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. A lot of people don't know that. She co-wrote that with Robert. And we are in a place today with business. We're going from that old place of control and command, telling you what to do, when to do, and how to do it, and from top down, into this place of trust and inspire, and helping individuals in a business arena to start to awaken their inner genius, their inner being, to be able to tap into their own original purpose.
Is that just me, or did Ken?
No, it is frozen. So, Paul, that's the thing about a lot. We do live programs too. That's the thing about live programs is,
Not me.
I think we. Oh, there we go. Ken's here. He's back.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I'm in a place where I thought the Wi-Fi would be really good, and it's not. But I apologize for that, Scott and Steve. In business, we are starting now to live intentionally. And that is a subtle shift from setting goals and manifesting goals. But it's a place where we're shifting into the oneness to start to step up into that place where we resonate oneness by the thoughts we hold, by the intentions we hold. And it's business in my world is shifting from the living business from the outside in, from results oriented, to a place of we're still looking at results, but we're living it from the inside out, not the outside in. The results were.
Yep. We lost him again. There you are. Okay.
Sorry, Scott. Business is in a place where we are generating results from the inside out, not the outside in. I think I mentioned that. And so we're in a place today in business where we're using business as a tool to evolve consciousness, to evolve ourselves in ways that we start to understand, yes, everybody is one. the secretary to the CEO is all one, and we are all connected, and everybody is just as important as everybody else. So that's the piece that I brought in. We brought some amazing speakers to the table, and we brought that business piece to the Oneness Summit this year to bring in more, maybe even more practicality, how to apply this not only in your personal life, but also in your business life.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And hopefully the internet gods will be kind with us so we can hear more from you. I'm going to bring on Dr. RowShanak next. And I love how kind of your little bio ended. And she also has got slightly sketchy internet. So hopefully, again, that's just part of the world we live in these days. Dr. RowShanak, so tell us, what are some practical ways that our understanding of neuroscience can help us to be more sustainable in our life choices?
Thank you so much. Hope the internet gods are holding out on my end as well. So I think it's really important that we understand the basis of why do we have science. Science helps us with the understanding of our nature and of nature, and brings the divine, which is intractable, into beingness. And so as we understand better how we function and how our world functions, then we can be intentional about the way that we direct our behaviors, the way that we make decisions every day, from nutrition to sleep to social interaction to our interdependence with each other, and of course the relationship that we have with ourselves and with others. So for example, one of the things that Ken was talking about with respect to business is this idea of trust. When we talk about trust, we're at a time where globally we're in the Great Resignation. This is the highest number of people who have chosen to leave their jobs since the Department of Labor and Statistics has been keeping track of those numbers. And it's because people now have gotten to a point where they need to merge, they need to align their personal and professional selves. We need to bring forth what is our deep passion in a way that is sustainable. And when you have trust in the workplace, you decrease what is now becoming an epidemic, which is burnout, significantly. I believe the number is something like 44% or higher. You increase productivity by 66%. People are happier. And when they're happy, they're more productive. And this goes between our lives personally and professionally, socially, in every way that we move forward. Ultimately, people want to live a life of happiness, of fulfillment, of meaning. And we find from science that having a life of meaning involves multiple pathways, having coherence. That means the things that you're doing are making sense within your own life, having purpose. That means connecting your present day actions to your future valuable goals, having existential mattering. That means that what you do in your own life matters to other people. And the newest way, which has very recently been shown, is experiential appreciation. These are all works that were done through the community of neuroscience to show how we can very practically be happy. When we understand neuroscience and we understand how important living our purpose is, we also understand how neuroprotective it is. If we have cognitive decline, people are really worried about that. It prevents us, it protects us from cognitive decline. When we understand that we perceive reality in a way that's quite fluid, even the reality that we see in a very physical way has a delay from the time that it hits our eyes to the time that our full perception of that reality comes together. And when we shift our perception, when we shift our attention, which is our greatest resource, we shift our understanding of things, and we can take the reins of our brains, and instead of being guided and tossed about on the sea of emotions and events that are happening to us, we get to determine how we will move forward. I'll give you one really important example of the correlation between the spirituality and the neuroscience, and that is through meditation. Mindfulness meditation changes it has been very well documented, the structure and function of the brain. So as we're trying to keep our emotional stability, our equanimity, when you practice mindfulness meditation, you actually can see in resting state brain dynamics a change that can reliably predict how you can stay calm in the face of the onslaught of this complex, rapidly changing world that can continually destabilize us. People are looking for resilience, but when we understand how we function, we don't need to keep being resilient against the friction and the hurdles. We can remove them out of our way so that we're, instead of rolling the rock up the hill, rolling it down the hill to live a life that is both fulfilling for ourselves individually and for us globally, collectively. And this is how we can birth a new world.
You're on mute, Scott. There we go.
What just a beautiful core group of people you've got here, Steve. Absolutely beautiful. Well, let's bring up the last person that we haven't heard from yet, and this is Jacqueline. And there she is. Jacqueline, I wanted to ask you, since you gave this TED Talk, what was the main focus? What are some of the takeaways from that TED Talk?
Absolutely. And it ties into so much about what everyone's talking about here tonight. Before I truly stepped into the world of consciousness, one of the leaders in my own life, which is by no coincidence, it never is, it happened to be Neil Donald Walsh. And, I read Neil's book. I read Neil's book when I was 3, when his book first came out. That was my joke. I'm trying not to age myself tonight. But, I read Neil's book and it truly put me on my own path in my life, which literally led me to that TED Talk. And, when I became a parent, something in my own life changed, and I really looked out into the world and I went, what am I bringing my children into? And I am the very proud adoptive mother of 3 beautiful boys. And what I really realized through the adoption process is the most important thing to me was, how can I raise kind, compassionate, loving little human beings? And I knew that not only did I have to teach them that, I needed to show up in my own life that way. So I did this quick little journey I'll share with everybody. And when my first son that I adopted turned 3, I decided to start a personal parenting project. And we were going to go out into the world and do something small to give back every day. We included people, we included our planet, we included animals. And we went out and we did one small act of giving every day. We did it for 365 days. Well, little did I know, while we were going through this process, and I had created a blog around it, I just wanted to share it with our friends and family and kind of out and about with the world a little bit. We thought if we could inspire just one other person to give in the world, we could create our own little ripple right from home. And what I didn't realize at the time is that process of giving every day, that intentional, heart-centered practice, is what we're all talking about right now. It is this ability and this common thread that runs through every single human being, and that's love. And what I didn't realize at the time is my son and I were actually taking the energetic force of love that comes from every human being. We were putting it out into our hands and giving it out to the world every single day. And so it became my intentional, mindful practice that literally increased my own happiness, my own well-being. We now know the benefits. Dr. RowShanak graciously was just talking about this beautiful body that we have. We don't need to try and do a spiritual bypass on it, but instead we can utilize it as this amazing tool to actually create more love, more consciousness, more awareness in our own lives. Because when we give, and Neil talks about this all the time. I talked to him a few times about it this week when we were having some conversations. When we give with no expectation of anything in return, we give our light, a little piece of ourselves, maybe something we're good at. Maybe it's a smile. Maybe it's holding a door. Maybe it's buying somebody a coffee in line. When you go out into the world and you give the gift of who you are from the inside, your beautiful light, and you give it, that's what changes that energetic field. Dr. RowShanak and I had the beautiful opportunity of having our discussion for Humanity's Team and Global Oneness Day. Our discussion is how global consciousness starts at the heart of every human being. And when we were talking with the Heart Math Institute, we literally had the science behind it and the consciousness awareness behind it, that our heart actually is not only a secondary brain for us, that we can lead our lives from our heart, but the energetic force that comes, the energetic field that actually physically comes off our heart, is something that not only can affect our own lives in a positive way, but it can affect everyone around us, from our families to our communities and right out to the global magnetic field. And it's a phenomenal conversation. I encourage you all to come and watch it with us. But what we know is that even small acts of giving, when we just give that little bit of ourselves, it's literally affecting and changing the world, because we're not only changing ourselves, increasing our own happiness, our own well-being, and our own health, but we're effectively changing everyone around us. And in turn, that literally changes the world. And to me, that is just one of the many ways that we can create a practice, because, you know, when we talk about consciousness, we talk about awareness, it's being in the now moment. And that is a practice that we have to take on every day. It's something that we have to be consciously aware and take the time to practice every day to truly affect change in our own lives and everyone around us. So that's what I really learned from my own daily giving practice. And without even knowing it, I've been able to take it out into the world. We now have a global giving movement. And I'm so blessed to partner with people like Steve and Neil and everybody here that has just put in so much time and effort. But really what we've all done is we've given a little piece of ourselves because we want to put that love out to the world. So I'm so happy to be here with everybody and just honored to be part of this movement and to be part of the time with you here, Scott, today. What a gift. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. You know what I'd like to do is, in a moment, we're going to go to Omashar for a musical offering. And then we'll come back to this round table and kind of converse with you. But I do have a quick question I've got to ask you, Jacqueline. You know, you talk about how to be happy every day.
Mhm.
And you did a beautiful job. It's through gratitude and by giving. And
Yeah.
so get that. What's your response? Because I'm sure you've heard this question before, to those people that are so in the awareness of the pain going on, whether it's the war in Europe or climate change. Those are two things that people have a lot of pain around. What's your response when people say, how can I be happy when there's so much pain going on in the world? What's your response to people who kind of have that mindset?
Well, I think one of the things that we need to remember is that pain and suffering, putting pain and suffering out into the world just brings more pain and suffering. And the more of the pain and suffering that we put out, and really when I looked out at the world, when I became a parent, you know, that was my first reaction was, you know, how do I possibly raise a child in a world that we're in today? And this was a decade ago now. And things have only gotten increasingly worse. But what I realized is that the more worry I put out, the more heartache I put out, the more potential stress. And for many right now, I mean, really our world's greatest pandemic right now is depression, stress, and anxiety in people. But the more we put that out, the more it keeps coming back. That's law. So instead, what I chose to do is I chose to put love out to the world. I chose to put happiness out into the world. I chose to do what I could do, because when I do that and 7 billion other people do that, we've changed everything. If everybody all together, and we've talked about this, we were talking about this with music as well. If everybody started giving in one small way, a way that worked for them every single day, if it was even something as simple as a smile or using social media for social good, we would change everything in a day with 7 billion people. And it really is that simple, but we all have to realize that putting out bad only brings bad in. Putting out love just amplifies the love.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you so much. I'm just really enjoying every one of our presenters very much. We're going to hear from all of them a little bit more, but let's digest even what we just heard from Jacqueline about. Let's all think about what's something we can do every day to make the world a little bit more wonderful. You know, my mentor, Jacqueline, my primary mentor was Dr. Marshall Rosenberg, the founder of Nonviolent Communication, and we became quite close before he passed away. And Marshall said there's two questions we should be asking ourselves and asking each other all day long. What's alive for you in this moment? And what can I do to make life more wonderful? I love that. What's alive for you in this moment, which is where we do acknowledge the pain or the discomfort or whatever, something wonderful, something hard, whatever we're thinking about. And then what can we do to make life more wonderful? So thank you. I can imagine Marshall smiling as he hears you speak. All right, we're going to go to our beautiful brother Omashar for a little music to integrate all that we've already heard.
Yes, namaste and aloha, everybody. And what has been shared tonight is truly profound. I'm already having integration moments within myself, and what was brought up about meditation is something that I introduced into my life consistently 2 or 3 times a day about 2-3 years ago. And that is my grounding, that is my center. And so without me rambling on, I'm going to share a brand new song tonight. I said I would. And this is called I Am You. It's still a work in process. When it's recorded, it'll change. And it has a recurring theme in it. And I'm going to pop it into the chat, the recurring theme, theoretically. And you can sing along, hopefully. And basically, it says, I am you, though we seem to come from different skies. What is true is the love that shines right through your eyes. So here we go, and here we go, and here we go, and here we go. I am you, though we seem to come from different skies. What is true is the light that shines right through your eyes. Yes, we are here and now. And it's time to leave the past behind. So take me by the hand. Let us walk across this sacred land. I am you, though we seem to come from different skies. What is true is the light that shines right through your eyes. I'll sail away with you across the universe. I will fly on eagle's wings, and you know we'll cry with gratitude. Remember, you're always divinely connected. Our spirits, our bodies will be resurrected. The love in your hearts will lift you up, and I'll come along and fill your cup. What are you? Though we seem to come from different skies. What is true is the light that shines right through your eyes. 1,000 sunny days describes the joy I feel. I'd walk 1,000,000 miles
'cause you know we'll see the truth revealed. And remember, you're always divinely connected. Our spirits, our bodies are being resurrected. The love in your hearts will lift you up, and I'll come along and fill your cup. Shines right through your eyes.
Wow, thank you so much, Omashar. That was beautiful, just beautiful.
It's always a trip sharing a new song, because there's this energy that tries to push it out through you, and I was rushing through it. And so what I'm going to ask for panel is, what is your key for staying really present when you have something to share and there's this gushing energy that comes, and how do you rein that in? I think RowShanak, the doctor, was sharing about having the reins, and so that's my question.
Well, we'll go right there. RowShanak, do you want to respond to his question?
Specifically about taking the reins of your brains?
Yeah, kind of, sort of. I have this energy which, when I'm going to share something, it just kind of rushes out of me like 1,000 horses, and it causes me to stumble. And all I need to do is somehow pull myself back into that center to deliver it with more elegance, let's say. And yeah.
It's a beautiful thing when we know how to channel our energies, right? So we get this flood, this rush of neurochemicals in our body that fill us up with that joy, the endorphins, the dopamine. You get everything, this beautiful soup that's just, whew. And when we can go intentionally and think, because there are these emotions, right? And then we think about, what is it that I really want to accomplish? And I look at my goal, then I am able to balance that out, take all that feeling that is so overwhelming and beautiful. And I can, instead of it being so widely distributed and untethered, I can now focus it like a laser. I focus it into this thing that I want, and I now become highly efficient. And it's a little bit like going into that flow state. I become highly efficient and connected on every level to what I want. And I use that energetic force. And I love what you said, because so many times we're looking for motivation and we're looking for energy, but this unending supply of energy comes from us connecting to the divine, to our passion, to our joy, because it keeps filling us up. And using our logical brain, we then can focus that energy and then let it go into what we really want, to get to that objective, to make that impact that we want, to reach those people and give them, impart to them this joy, this beauty, this energy. And there's this amazing connection that happens. When we're telling a story to somebody, the parts of our brains that are lighting up, especially the higher order parts that give meaning to something, also, when the listener is connected, lights up in their brains. Right. So it's when we're communicating with other people, it's not just sound that's then connecting through our auditory apparatus into our auditory cortex. There's all this meaning that comes through. And when we focus our intention, then we can do an even better job of making that connection.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
That was a beautiful, spontaneous little sharing. Thank you so much for kind of your vulnerability in asking the question.
Of course, but we're family, and this is the awakening world, and everything that Steve and the team, that we're doing this together. We've been doing it for a long time, but now it is really coming into focus. And so I think it's important to ask these questions because we all help each other. Thank you.
And speaking of helping each other, we can help Omashar by buying his music. You don't have to wait until the weekend to listen. If you go to omashar.com, that's his name, and that's where you can link to his YouTube channel or his Instagram, or you can also buy his music by going to any of the regular places like Bandcamp. So let's all support our beloved brother Omashar. I'm so grateful for how he shows up for every show that we do. It's beautiful. Speaking of support, I'm going to bring on camera, and we're going to get back to all of our presenters in just a minute. But for a few moments, I want to introduce Erin Pullman. And Erin welcome Erin to the Awakening World.
Hey, everybody.
And she has something really wonderful that she's doing. Tell us about your Charity Water project.
Yeah, so about 4 years ago, I was listening to a podcast interview, and I learned the horrible fact that there are 771 million people in the world that don't have access to clean water. And those moments where like something just hits you hard, like I have been thinking about it every day since then. And I found this great organization called Charity Water. They've brought clean water to 15 million people already, and it only costs $40 a person to bring someone clean water for the rest of their life. And so I decided to create a fundraising event. I'm throwing it tomorrow in Los Angeles at a private residence, and we have about 14 different musicians going to perform. I'll be performing some of my original songs. And we even have a Grammy award-winning harpist coming to perform. It's going to be wonderful. We're going to have a live painter, and it's outdoors by this pool, and it's absolutely gorgeous estate. So that is happening tomorrow, and it's from 2 to 6 p.m. I'm not sure how many of you are in Los Angeles, but the good news is that even if you aren't, there is still a way to contribute to the fundraising campaign that I started. And I think Scott can put it in the chat, or I can put it in the chat. But for every $40 that we raise, we can bring clean water to one person that right now is drinking water every day that could literally kill them because it's so contaminated. For the rest of their life, they can have clean water for $40. It's like completely mind-blowing. And so far, this campaign has gotten enough money together to bring clean water to 23 people. And I still have a bunch more tickets to sell for my event, and a bunch of more people that are going to be donating online. And yeah, so that's my story today.
All right. Well, thank you, Erin. And here is her website. I have put into the chat box all the information. But for those of you that are watching on Facebook and don't have access to our Zoom room chat box, go to charitywater.org, charitywater.org, and you can donate directly just by clicking that donate button. You can put in how much you want to donate. And of course, if you're in Los Angeles, tomorrow, that's the place to be. And what time and where in LA is that going to be?
Yeah, it's from 2 to 6 p.m. at a beautiful private residence in Brentwood Heights. So I'm not sure if you put the Eventbrite link in, but either Scott or I will put the Eventbrite link, and then you can connect with me that way. And I'll send you the address and everything.
Fantastic. And thank you, Laura Chamberlain, who's already donating. So we appreciate that.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you guys so much for listening and just hearing about this, and for Scott for hosting this amazing group of individuals. It's such a joy to be here with all of you. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm bringing Jacqueline on, and Jacqueline, you're on camera right now because Erin what you're doing is a perfect example of what Jacqueline was talking about.
I was just literally writing that in the chat. I'm like, love it, amazing. I know Charity Water really well. I'm really familiar with their work. It's remarkable. It's a phenomenal story of how it all started. And I love that you have taken this on. You know, I was literally going to write in the chat, so I'll just say it live and say, you know, if everybody just donated $5 today, even that makes a difference, right? It's what, you know, giving is all about what we can do. And Aaron, I love the fact that you're using the power of social media to make that difference. You know, it's one of the things that we say to people all the time. Let's start changing our news feeds. I truly believe that, you know, when we look at the algorithms of our social, it truly reflects the algorithm of our life as well. You know, what we put out to the world is what we're bringing in as well. And when we go and look, and I encourage this to people, and I'm talking about happiness and where you are, and this is right around the topic of consciousness and awareness as well. You know, when you open your YouTube feed or your Facebook feed, what is it telling you? Are you listening to those God whispers, as we can call them, or your angels that are talking to you because they're all showing up in your feed? What are you consuming? It's so much about what Dr. RowShanak was talking about as well. You know, how are we effectively programming our brains, and how are we creating this algorithm in all areas of our life? And what you're doing is absolutely remarkable, because you're creating an algorithm that's putting love out to the world, and more of it. It's helping people, and helping people really truly understand that there are people all over the world that do think of them. And I think that's one of the big pieces that everyone wants to know, is that they're seen and that they're heard. And you're providing this by providing water to people on the other side of the world, so that they know people do truly care. So thank you so much for that, because that changes so many lives. When children have fresh water, it changes so many lives for generations to come. It's not just one child you're changing right there, but that's a whole generation. They're able to learn. They potentially could go to school. They're not going to die, right? And that could be one of our world's next greatest leaders, and you just never know. So thank you for that. I love it.
Yeah, every day I go into this visualization where I'm in Africa and we're installing the final well. Everyone has clean water now, and it is like the most fun visualization. I completely recommend it. It brings me a lot of joy and elevates my vibration too. So
Well,
yeah,
Aaron, I'm going to let you know you can, because when I started 365 Give, we started a school program, and my goal was always, how do I make this global? And it was always, and I would visualize it and visualize it and visualize it. And it has happened. And so it's possible. And the most beautiful surprises are coming your way, and you're going to be amazed. And it's just going to make your heart sing. And that will be the best part, because by you doing this and the happiness that it's going to create for yourself, it just keeps going out and rippling to everyone that you touch as well. I mean, you think about this, think about how many people we touch in our lives, or over the course of our life, right? So for some of us, the average, I think, is something like 30,000 people you touch in the course of your life. But now with social media, we all have this opportunity to literally touch millions. I mean, if you had told me I was going to do a TED Talk that would touch millions of lives, I could never have imagined, not in a million years. But yet, you know, each one of our lives now has this opportunity to ripple out to at least 30,000 people or more at a global scale, and have that amazing impact. So thank you, Aaron, for all you're doing. It's just phenomenal.
Thanks for
And Aaron, I would like to, I'd like to bring you one surprise. So my show is called Voices of Courage. We're syndicated in 185 countries on TV, podcast, and AM, FM radio across the United States. I would like to invite you to come on that show. If you can, maybe I can, Scott could get you my email address. We'd love to have you on. We are changing the news feed, and I believe that this will be powerful. Although we're backed up about 5 months, I will figure out a way to get you in. So,
and that's awesome. And maybe I can share some of my music with some of you sometime. I'm on Spotify and YouTube, but yeah, all of it: music, vibrations, healing, visualizations, water, health, all goes together.
Nice.
That's the perfect ripple right there. The ripple just happened. Absolutely amazing. Love that, Ken. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Ken. Absolutely. Thank you very much. Well, see, that's what it is. We're all coming together. We're all collaborating together. And that is the beauty of birthing a new world. and the awakening world. So let's kind of celebrate this moment that just happened with a little more music. So I'm going to go to Shawn Gallaway. He's got a second song ready for us. Shawn, are you enjoying the show tonight?
Oh, it's phenomenal. It's precious. It's very heartwarming, and yeah, it's good to be back. That's all I can say, you know.
It's good to have you back, brother.
Yeah. So years ago, when I first got onto this path, I think it was 1986. There was a book that came out called The Starseed Transmission, and it was by Ken Carey, and he spoke of something called the awakening, and this awakening would begin to happen, and it's exponentially happening now. But anyway, this was the first song I ever wrote that was, I would call, a conscious song, in that it was it's a vision for the world, and it's called The Great Awakening. So I thought it would be appropriate to play this one tonight, so I hope you enjoy it. The early morning dawn will bring the light to wake us from the darkness in our lives. Through the clearing clouds, the sun will shine. The warmth of love will ease our minds. For winter will soon be over. The season of fear gone with the night. And as the new day begins, we'll discover the light in our hearts, blooming into love's eternal spring, the awakening. As the ice and snow begin to melt away, our eyes will reflect the coming age. The peaceful winds of truth will gently blow around the world for all to know. For winter's storm will soon be over. The season of fear gone with the night. And as the new day begins, we'll discover the light in our hearts, blooming into love's eternal spring, the awakening. Winter's storm will soon be over. The season of fear gone with the night. And as the new day begins, we'll discover the light in our hearts, blooming into love's eternal spring, the awakening. The great awakening.
Beautiful. Just beautiful.
Thank you.
Mm. You have such a way of inspiring us, Shawn. You're clearly who you are as a being comes through in your music and your heart. And it's really just wonderful to have you back on the show.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you.
Hey, I want to remind everybody that his website is his name, Shawn Gallaway. Now he spells it with A's. So it's Shawn, SHAWN, and it's Gallaway, GALLAWAY. Or if we're going to be phonetic, Shawn Gallaway would be another way to remember it. But he is beautiful, and we could always support our musical artists by going to their websites, buying their music from them, registering. It's a beautiful website, by the way. And look at all the different things that he's done. So, and his video, I Choose Love, which, as he said, is now We Choose Love, is really, one of the great theme songs of our tribe. You talked about Ken Carey, Shawn. I know Ken. I knew him. We did a retreat together in Maui back in the 80s. And we were both baseball fans, and we had both brought our mitts. And we both thought, why am I packing a mitt to Maui? But when we were packing our bags, not even knowing each other, we hadn't met yet. We were both teaching at the same retreat. We both packed our mitts. So every day we went out and we played catch together. Cool. He had just written the Starseed Transmissions, and he's a beautiful, beautiful guy. So thank you for bringing, and that's the thing, Neil Donald Walsh and Ken Carey, they wrote the books that were some of our predominant books that influenced us. Well, your music is also some of the music that also influences.
This is my artwork too behind me here, Scott. And so I'm also a visual artist too. So there's a gallery on the website. So if anyone's interested in artwork as well, I love doing artwork.
I love this photo. I'll actually go to that photo on the website right here. There we go. So you do commissioned artwork, yeah?
I do. I've done lots of different things. And those ones on those pictures, those are called the Happy People series I do. I do these, they're just whimsical, happy people, and they really brighten up a room. So I've done hundreds of them for different people, so they're fun.
Well, you know why they're happy? Because they listened to Jacqueline's TEDx talk.
That's exactly right.
Commitment to doing, something wonderful for everybody. So that's why they're so happy.
That's exactly it. We're all connecting the dots here tonight,
Exactly. I'll bring Jacqueline on for that. So, well, Shawn, God bless you. Stick around. We've got more of the show.
I love that. I need some of that art. I'm going to take a look. Like, perfect. I just love it. This is exactly what I'm talking about. And I hope everybody is seeing this in such beautiful real time. Shawn, not only are you sharing your music with us, but your art, your happy art. It's perfect. It's this beautiful light that you have inside of you that you're just giving out to the world. And, it's not even about, and we've had many conversations about this, it's not even about doing everything for free. Just when you innately are able, it's like Steve. It's a great example. When you are innately able to take what your talents are, and when you understand what those are and use them for the benefit of the world. We heard earlier, Steve did a lot of things before he started Humanity's Team with Neil, but now he's taking all of that amazing experience, his talents, his wisdom, and he's just putting it out to the world in another way. And it's absolutely phenomenal. I'm seeing this in everybody here today, and it's just, what a gift.
Well, thank you, Jacqueline. This whole program is so heart-opening, isn't it? And the whole reason we do, for Humanity's Team and the Global Oneness Summit and the Humanity Stream Plus platform, and I don't want to speak for Jacqueline and Dr. RowShanak, but it is to create we've got a little microcosm right here, right now, of this whole awakened world. That's all about what our work is, because where we awaken and we understand we're a part of the one and that we're loved on that level, then we can love and give service and do these beautiful things like what Erin is bringing in, where she says she was so touched that she wanted to create this or support this charity water, which is what a phenomenal program that is. So this is the world. This is the awakened world. We're a microcosm of it right now, and that's why I know we're all so passionate about conscious living or oneness or unity consciousness or whatever we want to call this here, but is because we can create this beautiful, beautiful, loving and giving world. And we do, just as we are here tonight when we are on this journey.
Beautiful. What are some of the highlights of the upcoming 10 days that you want to make sure people know about? Is there anything you want to especially highlight?
Boy, there's
I know it's like asking a parent which of your children, right?
Over 100 leaders. There's so many that are freely giving of their time. Today, Greg Braden and Bruce Lipton and Deepak Chopra and many others. And then this goes through the actual Global Oneness Day, which is October 24th, Monday. So gosh, there's science, there's Jacqueline and RowShanak have shared, they've got programs that are coming up that are beautiful. They talk about where we go from just living to living consciously, and that bring in heart cohesion, both at an individual level and at a collective level. So that's just a little taste of some of the amazing things that are come. But we've worked year round on this program. I mentioned Timothy, Adam, and Ken Foster have sought to take this summit in a different direction. It's got more award-winning music. It's got more celebration. It's got more experiential exercises. So where we're leaving just the wisdom sharing of panels and getting just like this program here, actually this evening, where you can actually feel it. It's a pulsing, energetic thing where your brain doesn't have to necessarily all be engaged. Your body can feel this nature of oneness, of birthing a new world, which by the way, we've only kind of touched on that aspect. So part of what the reason that we call it birthing a new world is, you may know Greg Braden's most recent research gets into all of these new applications or industries that are being born in the world now. So for example, vertical agriculture and energy that has, where we move away from fossil fuels that has unlimited supply, and currency in these new forms that are transparent and that are more secure. And then interior states and interior practices that are just way beyond what most of us are deploying in today's world. These are just a few of the things that we get into as we talk about birthing a new world. It was brought in earlier in business. We're birthing a whole new way of doing business, a conscious business, where interior states now are what are so critical, where the culture of the organization is that we're connected to the entire cosmos and universe around us, to the divine. We actually, in humanities team, like to use the term the divine, the one, that we're all offspring of the divine. I mean, that's incredibly empowering where we know that. So it takes us in, you could call it radical directions, but I would call it more of kind of, it brings us back home, where we wandered off in illusion, thinking everything was separate, creating this world that we can just see and feel as so unbelievably dysfunctional. And when we come home to who we really are, then we just heal all of that dysfunction. It just heals itself. And just like what we're experiencing tonight, where we're walking beautiful music and water charity and beautiful sharing about giving and all of these things, where it just touches your heart in the most amazing way, just as we're all experiencing it here right now. And so the Global Oneness Summit and Humanities Team is only about just a journey that takes us to a destination where we live like that. Because that was the whole invitation anyway, wasn't it? When we were born into the world, it wasn't to go left brain out doing these kind of silly things that most of us grew up in.
Beautifully stated, Steve. I want to read a few of the comments, and then I'm going to bring Ken on because we haven't heard much from Ken yet. But I want to read some of the comments coming in from people. And hey, everybody, now's the time for questions. We've got about maybe 30, 45 minutes left. Mystic Joyride is with us. We're going to hear from them in a moment. But I want to read some of the comments and certainly put in any questions that you might have for anybody here, for Jacqueline or for Dr. RowShanak or Steve or Ken. Carol writes, Steve, the opening today was phenomenal, and then a lot of emojis. I was so fulfilled with today's speakers, some of my favorite evolutionary leaders, and I am excited to see what's next. Our beloved brother, the mystic abbot of the wild abbot of the mystic monastery, Jerry Anderson, writes, the above interview was amazing to learn that Dr. Deepak in his late 70s shared his first LSD experience. Now that's interesting because tomorrow morning, I've got a pre-record with Reverend Michael Beckwith, who also talks about his early LSD experiences. You got to come to our Secret Sunday show to see that. Sylvia writes, birthing a new world, also dropping into the planetary and individual wombs and ovaries of all mammals, human, bear, deer, wolverine. Got to get those wolverines in there. Thank you, Sylvia. So, and it's really true. You know, it's like, let's remember our beautiful animal friends. You know, one of the heartbreaking things that when I think about is how many species are going extinct every day. It's incredible and very heartbreaking. So thank you. It is important for us to take into consideration as we're remembering humanity waking up, also remembering our animal and plant and natures, the Devic kingdom. Is there anybody doing anything?
There are panels on that. Yes, there are panels on that. In fact, Karen Noe has Melissa Joy, I think her name is, that are going into this exactly. And Melissa shares her story, or maybe it's
Melanie Joy, Steve, Melanie Joy.
Yeah, and shares her story of how she became a vegan. And boy, very heart-opening story. So, and there's a lot of great work going on here, including on our streaming platform, where chefs walk in the importance of just a healthy diet, and where there's love, you know, for animal life and plant life and Gaia herself. So yes, and other things too. Ken Honda is a part of the program out of Japan, you know, and he brings in, he created wealth by just being a lovely, giving person, if you know his story. And he's a revered person in Japan, and he talks about just how he lives joyfully, where he's giving himself away all the time. And there's this boomerang effect that creates all of these different kinds of prosperities, including financial prosperity. And then there's a program as well with Timothy's mom, Karen Noe, and also two of Wayne Dyer's youngest daughters, Serena and Sage. And for a lot of people, this whole lifting of the veil thing is still huge. The notion that we're, you know, that it's just us here physicalized and that's it, as you know, is quite predominant out in the world. And what they share is this incredible story of their dad, Wayne Dyer, who passed in 2015, and who is just active all over the place in today's world. He wrote a book through Karen Noe called We Consciousness. We created a masterclass about this, all of this work that Wayne is doing through Karen, through Sage, and through Serena. And they share in their panel how when their dad first passed, how they forgot all of what his teachings were because they were so sad and so incredulous that he was gone. And then their personal story of how they opened up and could see that he was actually doing things in their lives, touching them, even telling one of their daughters, Serena, that she was pregnant and was going to have a baby July 4th. And guess what happened? And then when she was having the baby and nobody knew about it, and the phone rang when she's delivering her baby, guess who was calling in? From the afterlife, as she's delivering a baby. Wayne Dyer calling in. I mean, absolutely unbelievable story. They tell that story during the summit. Let me come over to Timothy, because again, he was just starting to tell a little bit about a Oneness documentary. He also has got this spiritual activism thing and lots of other things.
And just to be clear, Steve, when you're sharing Wayne called in from the afterlife, that was through my mother, Karen Noe, who's a world-class psychic medium. And she does this all the time. I grew up with this. It's a nice thing to take for granted. But she gets these nudges from spirit, or in this case, from Wayne. At this point, I think it was a reasonable hour of the day. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's 6 a.m. and she's, call Sage now. And she's saying, you know, what? It's 6 o'clock in the morning, Wayne. Call her now. But she followed this nudge and called Sage, who did not answer the phone, or called Serena, rather, one of Wayne's daughters. She did not answer. So then she called Sage, but the message was for Serena. So Sage answers, hey, Karen, we're a little busy here. You know, nobody knew. It's not on Facebook or not public information. Yeah, Serena's about to give birth. Right here. But she has all sorts of these messages. And Steve goes into just a piece of some of these unfoldings in that panel. And there's even a free program if you want to hear a bit more about that, and a whole masterclass, as Steve has alluded to.
Yeah, it's called Messages from the Afterlife. It's a free 60-minute program when you go to humanitiesteam.org and just hear Sage, Serena, and Karen Noe. It's unbelievable. And it's such important work, because we need to lift the veil. This oneness, unity consciousness thing, we can't just think or believe that it's just the physicalized world that's here, because we're giving up way too much if that's our belief. And I'll tell you, Karen Noe and Suzanne Giesman, and you all probably are familiar with many other mediums that are incredible. Also, the indie ears are just opening people's eyes to reality of this is just, don't go there, and think, just like separation, that it's real, that there's some veil, and they're gone forever. It just is not true. Just is not true. And so the Global Oneness Summit gets into all of these things. And as Scott mentioned, it's a 10-day summit. It's a free program. We're sending out free links at the end of the day, because there's nobody probably but us and Humanities Team that are going to be there for the full program every day through the 24th. So we send out links at the end of the day for the programs you miss. And
Steve, just to share the profound impact, like what happens after we die. I think this is kind of a universal question that people have. Some people believe that we can't answer it, and that's a belief. And so please don't fall into the belief that it makes no impact what we believe about death into how we live our life, because what we believe death is profoundly shapes the life that we're living right here now today. And so it is actually one of the most important things, one of the most practical things, to learn a bit about what may happen after we yield the physical form. And this is where it's interesting, because it seems that science is telling us one thing, but really we are the scientists here, and the data available to us are all the people who have died and all the people who seem to be communicating with people who have died. These are pieces of the data that we can use to be scientists and come to our own understanding of what happens after we die, which profoundly impacts how we live here today in this life.
Yes, in fact, so Jacqueline was talking about Neil Donald Walsh, and he's coming on to Clubhouse quite frequently now. He's a key co-founder of Humanities Team. He's still very active with us in the Humanities Team. Now, of course, there were 9 Conversations with God books. The books share that what life is about, and this is God. I mean, I left Silicon Valley, by the way, because of Conversations with God. That was the God of my understanding that was speaking through these books. And I said, I don't want to play kids games anymore, just building companies. There's more important work to do, this whole conscious journey. Now, what Conversations with God says is, in the afterlife, we're in a place of knowing. We have perfect knowing, but knowing isn't enough. And our soul wants to experience. I want to experience what I know, which gets into questions like what Scott was asking. Well, but there's all this pain. What are you going to do when there's this pain? Well, the soul came into this life to experience, to be a healer, to be an alchemist, to be love, to be compassion, because it wants to experience its knowing. that we're perfect love. And then we return to the afterlife where it's being. So it's knowing, experiencing, and being. And which means that all of the hardship, the pain, friends that died, friends that are incredibly challenged, that's why we're here. We're actually here to hold them, to help them, to support them, to give to them, to love them. That's the only reason we came into this life. It wasn't for the houses or cars or vacations or things. And it's nice to have those things to a certain degree, but that's not why our soul embodied. The microcosm of what we're doing here tonight, it embodied for this reason. So where we just really get, say, okay, I get it, and then we accept the invitation, then we stand out on the field together and we live this way, not just tonight, but every night, every day, to being a giver to the best of our ability, being a loving expression to the best of our ability, each of us in our own way. Then we leave this whole world of worry that's out there right now. And that's why we're here. That's why everybody is tuned in, I'm sure tonight, as we were brought here, so that we can each be that remedy, that alchemist, that healing agent.
Beautifully stated, Steve. Beautiful. I'm eager to hear from everybody. But our other musical artists have finally arrived. They had another gig. And so I want to go back to a little music for a moment. It's Mystical Joyride, and we love this duo. They are fantastic. Hey, welcome back, you two.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
How did your earlier gig go tonight?
It's great.
Super fun. Yeah. Some people said that they like broke down in a good way, like they got free. So we were like, all right, that's the goal right there.
Well, we've been having a very hard opening evening so far. Really talk about birthing a new world. It's been a lovely evening, and we are ready for some mystical joyride. So take us on a ride.
All right. Usually we give you something very electronic, etc. But since we just came from another gig, we decided to give you an acoustic offering today. So bless y'all out there.
I want my third eye open wide. I want to see the truth. I don't want anything I hide. I want to share what's real and what I feel. I got a burden, hurting soul from the pain, y'all. I'm fighting back, I've gained control. It's not a game at all. No. Anytime I desire to get higher, open my third eye. Anytime I desire to get higher, I am a human, a magical human. I want my third eye on display. I wanna seize the day, not fizzle away. I choose to view reality so I can solve the problems in front of me. And I'll have what it takes. I might make mistakes, but at least I know I'm brave and save the world. Anytime I desire to get higher, open my third eye. Anytime I desire to get higher, I am a human. I am human. A magical human. A magical human. Open my third eye. Open my third eye. Open my third. Everything is up to me and everything is up to you. Then anything that we can do.
Open my third eye.
If everything is up to me and everything is up to you, then we can make our dreams come true.
Open my third eye.
If everything is up to me and everything is up to you, then anything that we can do.
Open my third eye.
If everything is up to me and everything is up to you, then we can make our dreams come true. I am a human, a magical human.
Wow. I'm going to go to Gallaway here. Let's give them some twinkles. Wasn't that powerful? Holy Moses.
Yay!
Holy
Yeah,
Moses!
Yeah.
You know, so funny how you were like apologizing. That's my favorite song I've ever heard you guys play.
All right.
Oh, sick.
Oh, yeah.
There was actually the very first song that we ever wrote together that we were like, oh my God, this is a vibe. We gotta make a band. It was the first Mystical Joyride song ever written. So yeah.
What a perfect foundational piece for what the two of you have now created. And everybody, we can learn a lot more by going to their website. It's their name, mysticaljoyride.com. And I had the good pleasure. They've been on the show, I think 3 or 4 times now. I saw them live. We were all at the Soul Play Festival together. And yeah, come catch a Mystical Joyride experience. What do you got coming up next? I'm looking at your calendar here.
The calendar is pretty much up to date as far as we've done all those things. The thing that we've got coming next is a baby coming out of Leah's tummy.
Whoa! Wow!
So we're kind of tapering down the show. We're doing December, so I think that might be our last live show this year, at least like at a venue or something. So the show we did earlier today, I think that might be our last live show of the year, because I think I've been performing the whole pregnancy, but I'm like starting to be 8 months, coming up on 8 months, and I think maybe today I was a little like, maybe it's time to start scaling it back a little bit. Feeling real pregnant. So.
Well, how perfect that you're on a show with the theme of birthing a new world.
I know.
Because you're about to give birth to a whole new world in your reality, in your life.
Absolutely.
Wow. God bless you both. Well, they're going to close us out. Our final experience tonight will be a Mystical Joyride song. So stick around. It's so good to see both of you again.
You too, Scott. Thanks for having us.
Have we named the baby yet? Do we know the gender? Do we?
None of the above.
We're going to wait till it comes to the delivery.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, we will see you in a little bit. Yes. I'm going to go to Jacqueline. I know, speaking of children, she's got children that are going to be coming back into her reality in a moment. And so I'm going to go to Jacqueline, and both her and Dr. RowShanak, and ask you two are collaborating. Tell us about your collaboration.
Okay, I got to start this one. So, I created Dr. RowShanak into my reality. I say I manifested her, actually. So that's we have this.
It's true. I didn't exist until Jacqueline brought me into being.
We have a wonderful soul sister connection. We were very blessed to meet. I mean, the power of social media. We were very blessed to meet on the app called Clubhouse, and we've become family. And we really realized very quickly that we were both introduced to Neil Donald Walsh because of the app Clubhouse. And when he talked about Humanity's Team, and we really dug into the work that he does in the world, we knew without even a blink when we first talked about it, that it was something that we really wanted to help bring out to the world even further. And we knew that with a little help from a lot of friends on Clubhouse and a lot of love coming from our own hearts, that we would be able to support Humanity's Team in our best way possible by bringing these conversations that truly make a difference and that matter in a world like you are tonight, Scott. Just bringing people together to talk about consciousness, to help create understanding, to bring that awareness and to allow people to share their own opinions and their own voice. And, to be able to work with somebody like Dr. RowShanak that has such deep understanding of how our physical form works, but then to also know that she has this amazing ability to connect beyond, and so much about what we're talking about tonight, that ability to connect to her own divine being, and bring that to the world. So to be able to work beside someone like Dr. RowShanak has just been a gift for me. So I just manifested my own neuroscientist, and it's been the greatest gift, honestly.
So
Over
I
to
feel
you,
very
sister.
fortunate.
I'm
Thank
passing the
you.
mic.
We look like sisters, don't we? So I do feel very fortunate, and it's amazing when we talk about oneness. This is another example of how we are so connected. We just need to find each other, and when we open up and we bring forth, and it's a little bit, Steve, what you were talking about before, when we bring forth who we truly are, our unique gifts and blessings, we are, every single one of us, as unique as our fingerprints, never to be seen before or after this moment in which we exist. And we are here by design. The probability of any of us existing, and at this age, is astronomically small. It is literally, scientifically, mathematically at the border of impossible. So I would suggest to all of us that we are here at this time in this form by design and with purpose. So understanding that can help to release us from the fear that grips us, that prevents us from showing our truest selves, and bring us into that state of being, of love, that allows us to expand. When we face failure, when we're in distress, which is what most people mean when they say stress, our brains respond very differently. In fact, they shut down, they disengage. And when we move into that state of love, somebody had written in the chat earlier, I believe it was Susan, who was talking about breathing. When you take a deep breath, and you let that out, just even one, you can feel immediately a change in your state of being. It's that simple. The way that our biology, our psychology, our psychic, spiritual being beautifully intertwines to create what we are and who we are in this reality we're experiencing, like Jacqueline manifesting me. It's true that when you put your very precious resource of attention on something, all the things that are associated with that will be working on an unconscious level in your brain that will bring to you, this idea of manifesting what you're looking for, what your goal is. And so you start to make associations you're not even sure you're making, because it's happening for you so quickly and on a level that you're not spending time and effort to do. So when Jacqueline wants something, and we work so well as a team because we really do support each other, and because really Jacqueline's amazing, let's be honest. And she says, well, should we do this? And I'm like, yeah, go ahead. And the next thing you know, the things that we thought about or we dreamed about, because we have this space where we bring each other out of fear and into love regularly, allows that expansiveness and that inclusion that will bring in. Look, when you pray, right, and you want something, if I said to you, hey, Steve, I have something for you, what would you do? You'd stick your hand out. You're like, yeah, okay. And that's how you receive. And when you're wanting to give, what do? The same thing. You open your hand. And when we pray, we're praying for something. And yet when we're in fear, if you pray for something, if you want something out of fear, what does fear do to us biologically, physically? We close up, we tighten up, we shut down. How are you going to receive when you're like this? You can't, it'll just bounce right off of you. You are not in that flow of abundance. And if you are also in fear and you receive, but you don't give, like any container, you will start to deform until you explode. You just break down. It doesn't work. So for us to be in that state is for us to be open to that flow of abundance that allows us to receive with grace and also then to deliver with grace, that which we have. So I would say Jacqueline is excellent at allowing me to also move through that flow of abundance that then, as she had so beautifully said before, allows this ripple effect. We have so many examples in science that show that when we are in a better state, we are kinder, we're more compassionate, we're more understanding, we're more patient. You know that when you feel good, what happens? Things happen, you go, it's okay. You actually reframe it for the other person. You give them the excuses, oh, they're having a bad day, or, or whatever. But when we're in a bad state, even the best of intentions, we will take that filter and we'll change it. And so having someone in your life that, or someone's in your life that bring you into that state of being of love in which we were all born changes everything. And Jacqueline, she's pure love.
Now you know why I manifested that. That was a a beautiful friend, and I'd like to share this with everyone tonight. A beautiful friend of mine once said to me when we were talking about love, he said, when you practice love and you show up as love, the lens in which you view the world is exactly that. And it starts to change all around you. And so I have a practice I like to share that I do every morning. And before I get out of bed every morning, the first thing that I do, even before my gratitude practice, is I say to myself, if love was a person, if that word love was a person, what would love think? So what are the thoughts that are going through our head the first thing when we wake up in the morning? What would love say? So what are the words, and how can we really be conscious in every moment, the words that are coming out of our mouth? And what would love do? And how can we take that love and put it out into our hands and give it out to the world? And in that practice that I have every day is in the moments that I get to see love and experience love, like the beautiful lens in which we just saw from our last performance. I love that, where we get to see life through a different lens. And when we see life through the lens of love, as Dr. RowShanak was just talking about, we then get to see everything differently. We show up differently, and we don't just see war. We don't just see poverty. We don't just see need. Instead, we are putting out the way we are viewing the world. And there is so much beauty in our world, and there is so much abundance in our world. And we don't ever want to forget those beautiful moments, because in those now moments, when we go take the time to smell the flowers, or to listen to the birds, or to pet your cat on your lap, whatever it is for you, and to be in true connection with each other, like we have spent tonight, this is how we change it all, right? Because we're all showing up as our true selves.
Love completely changes our perspective, our attention, our perception. And that, we think of the brain as this box where input and output and input and output. And what we don't realize is how dynamic it is. All life is dynamic. In biology, stasis is death. All things are always changing. We have changed each other tonight, bringing each other into these different states of being. This is the tremendous power that we each have to influence, and to remember that each of us, unfortunately, we were born in love, but then there were bugs in our programming that disabused us of this truth, and bringing each other back into that truth through experience, through connection, through everyday action changes this world. Because first, you yourself feel better. And when you yourself feel better, and that is the first thing that we learn through the science of giving, is the first reward comes to you, right? Biologically speaking, then you bring that out, as I mentioned, to others. And this ripple effect is the win-win situation of how you individually improve your own condition. And then because of that improvement, make that space and treat others. Your behavior changes differently. You treat others differently. That allows them then to come into that better state of being. And we think that one person can't make a difference, but look at how each one of you had made a difference today, whether it's the comments that you put in, or the energy of just being here, or what we've heard from each other. It is so true that every single moment we color. This is consciousness, is the qualia, the beauty of a sunrise, the joy in a child's laughter. How do you describe that? We can't. But that qualia, that is that consciousness that we want to bring ourselves and each other into. And that's something that we dance around with science. We try to bring that understanding of the intangible, of the divine, into being. But it's really the art of living that allows us to create this beautiful life for ourselves and each other.
You two are both just so magnificent. And I want to let people know how they can get more of you. We'll go first to this wonderful organization that Jacqueline is very involved in, 365give.ca. And of course, this was based a little bit on what she spoke about earlier, the beautiful practice that she started with her 3-year-old son of just giving a little bit each day. And again, it's 365give.ca. And I'm going to go to the About Us page. And there it is. There's the TEDx talk that's got 7.5 million views. Is that correct?
I don't know for sure. I know it's over 7. That's all I can tell you.
Amazing.
I don't check every day.
So anything you want for us to know about 365 Give today, Jacqueline?
You know, I'm just going to say, everybody, look at it as your own intentional practice of love each and every day. You know, when you take that time, you make it your own practice. Most of all, as Dr. RowShanak just said, it will change you. And that's where it starts. And when we start to create that change in ourselves, that's the best that we can put out to the world. And, you know, after practicing giving for 365 days, I can promise you it will change the way you look at the world, and you'll see what's possible. And you will know for yourself that we have the ability to create the happy, healthier world that we all want to live in for not only today, but for generations to come. Thank you so much, Scott, for having me tonight.
Thank you so much for being with us. And I would love to have you on the show again, and let's definitely talk about that. There's more I'd love to share with you. And our other wonderful Dr. RowShanak here, I just pulled up what you asked me to. So this is, I love the title of your work, Access to the Path. Beautiful. Yeah. And so people can learn all about you by going to Societap. That's kind of similar to Linktree. Is there a particular one of these little boxes you'd like me to click on?
Well, I mean, it's just showing the different ways in which you can connect with me. I do so many different things. I do have some videos out on YouTube and some programs out, and I am a speaker. I also have a website that is now being revamped. So if you want to click on accesstothepath.com, then you can read a little bit more about me and connect with me, get a complimentary consultation. The work that I do, as you see, is really based on 2 pillars. One is science and the other is spirituality. So using all that we have in the quantitative and the objective form of science and putting that into the context of the qualitative, emotional intelligence, spiritual intelligence, it gives the context that we need in order to be able to know how to use that knowledge, because knowledge itself is information is something we're drowning in. Information that's usable is knowledge. Knowledge that we know how to use with context, that gives us real tools that will allow us to move forward with strategies that help to improve our lives.
Beautiful. And I do see, you mentioned it briefly, but that you provide coaching and consultation, and that you actually provide a free little complimentary consultation.
Yes, I do.
So tell us a little bit about the work that you most enjoy doing with people and your favorite demographic group.
So, well, my favorite demographic group is I know you're not supposed to say this in business, but it's really everyone. But it tends to be, more, and there's a very small margin between them, 45 to 55. And then the second one is 35 to 45. And marginally more females than males. But typically the work that I do is in transformation. I work as a consultant and an advisor, and it's really helping people to find both fulfillment and achievement. There are so many people who are very successful financially and yet find that their world is empty. They don't have the joy they wish they had. They are successful according to what that narrative is that is success. And we don't want to die with the number one regret of the dying, which is I wish I'd lived a life that was true to myself and not what others wanted for me. This is from the book, The 5 Regrets of the Dying, that Bronnie Ware wrote, who's a hospice nurse. And she polled all these people as they were passing away. And all of them have to do with really connecting. So what I really most love to do is to help people to understand what gifts and blessings they have, to release them, to bring those forth. And then that, to me, it's my mission is to improve the human condition. My vision is to create a world in which we all thrive. I like to use the example of Michelangelo, for whom the moniker Renaissance man was created. He was so great at so many things, and yet he connected with him as a sculptor most of all. And he's created some of the most enduring, beloved, renowned, recognized sculptors known to man. And people would come to him and say, Michelangelo, you're a genius, you're amazing. How do you create these masterpieces? And he would say, I don't create anything. I simply see the sculpture trapped in marble and I set it free. He had the vision and the understanding that we are all masterpieces that are created by the master. And it is unfortunate that the narratives and the stories and the events of our lives are like those layers of marble that trap us. He used for his tools a chisel and hammer. Me, I use science and spirituality. This is what I most love to do, is to help release the masterpiece in every single one of us.
Beautiful. God bless you. That's such a beautiful sharing. When I just before my wife passed away, before we knew she had a problem, illness, we went to Italy, and we were there for quite a while. And being in Florence and then in Rome is when I really discovered Michelangelo. I mean, obviously I'd heard of him, but it was once we were there looking at his work, studying, and one of the interesting things is that, most people know it took him 7 years to do the Sistine Chapel. Mm-hmm. And he was so poisoned by all the paint and all that happened that he wasn't even there for the grand opening. He went back home to die. And yet he lived another 45 years. How somehow life, and he was just sure that he was done because he was so sick from all. Right. And yet God gave him another 45 years.
And you know what?
What?
He signed the receipt for the Sistine Chapel, Michelangelo, sculptor.
Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting.
It's so important to know and to be honest with we have so many different aspects, but with the part of you that you are meant to most bring into this world, because people need it. We feel that what we have is not enough, but there is at least one person waiting out there. Their destiny is waiting for you to come and fill their cup. What each of us bring forth with our own resonance is look, we've all been saying the same thing, but with different voices, and different people resonate with that. And that's the beauty of it, is understanding that your validation, your confirmation for your existence was in your birth, period. Right?
Beautiful. My dog is going, Dad, it's time to be okay. But I got to wrap up a couple more things. Dr. RowShanak, likewise, I sure hope you'll come back and be on the show again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And I want to take a minute. We're going to, of course, close by going to Steve and Timothy one last. Our last thing will be a final song from Mystical Joyride. But I do want to remind everybody that next weekend is going to be an amazing weekend for the Global Peace Tribe. It's our very first retreat in person. We're all going to be together, and it's going to be very special. It's taking place in Sedona, Arizona. And here are just a few of the people that are participating in our retreat. So many wonderful things are happening. Of course, Omashar will be there. And so many of the people that you've seen on camera will be there in person. And it turns out that Larissa Stowe, one of my favorite musical artists, she's co-hosted many shows with me. She just bought 12 acres outside of Sedona in Cornville, and they're having their land blessing the same weekend that we're going to be there. So we're all going to collaborate on that. So that's going to be pretty amazing. And always part of the plan was that we also are participating in the Super Conscious Music Festival. That's also going to be happening that weekend. Also, Jaya Lakshmi and Ananda are going to be performing, and we're going to go see them play. So there's going to be a lot of music, 2 different DJ night events, but then during the days, play shops with so many of your favorite Global Peace Tribe presenters, Connie and Andrew, Deborah Giusti talking about Ascension, Tangela, Krista and Nicole doing a special play shop that they've designed for us, and on and on and on. So there is still an opportunity to come be in Sedona with us. I'll put into the chat box how you can register or get more information about it. Come be with us. It's going to be very, very special. Now, I understand many of you will not be able to join us For those of you who have registered for this season, we are going to live stream out most of it. So you'll have to go to globalpeacetribe.com. You'll be sent a special code that will show you how to go in, get into the live stream, and we'll post on globalpeacetribe.com all the different events, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, that we'll be live streaming. So if you can, join us live. If you can't be with us live, then at least make sure that you've registered for this season of The Awakening World, so that you can join all the live stream, including Daniel Brinkley, who's going to be our keynote speaker, probably a week from tonight, and lots of wonderful music and lots of wonderful events. So definitely, please do join us. And there he is. I just noticed the wild abbot of the Mystic Monastery is going to be joining us. Jerry lived in Sedona. He's going to take us on Monday afternoon to a cave, a magical cave that very few people there even know about, but Jerry knows about it because he's Jerry. And he is the wild abbot of the Mystic Monastery. He's coming all the way to Sedona just to take us, well, to share the 4 days with us and to take us to the cave and to share his wonderful wisdom. So Jerry, we're really looking forward to seeing you in person next weekend.
Yes, it's going to be a mystical experience inside the cave.
That's going to be great. Thank you, Jerry. Looking forward to seeing you. And there's so much more. Bart Smythe is coming. He's a world-class healer, and he's going to be doing healings for people all 4 days. So there's a lot to look forward to. Hope you can join us. Of course, if not in person, you can join us online as long as you've registered for this season. All right. I'm going to go back to Steve and Timothy one last time. And anything else you want to make sure that all of our people know for your big event that started today? Congratulations.
Yes, and so you can Google Global Oneness Day, Global Oneness Summit, and you can get to the summit and check it out. I mean, it's so amazing, and so many people have given so much. We've just given you a little thumbnail here during this program, but I know you'll love it. I want to also just thank everybody, Timothy, Ken, Dr. RowShanak, Jacqueline, Scott, these musical artists, Aaron, who brought in Charity Water. What a heart-opening experience this has been. And I want to just share in closing too of, boy, our one message really is even more probably about being an expression of love than even just oneness. And boy, don't let that music box die without giving it full expression is what I'd say. Let it all out. Each of us in our own way. We're each called to a different station in life. There have been beautiful examples of love in music, in charity, in practices out in the world. And my knowing is that if we go all the way out to what we're called to, all the way out into the fullness of what we're called to, that's a beautiful life.
Beautiful. Thank you. And one more time, just to remind everybody, I just put it into the chat box, but for those of you watching on Facebook, go to humanitiesteam.org /Global Oneness Summit, or you'll also see where you can just click, and that opens you up, and that's where you can then sign up for free. Look at all these amazing presenters. Steve, almost all of these people have been on our show, and they're all just amazing, beautiful souls. So you've got just a fantastic team on Humanity's team. And thank you for putting all of this together. There's one other thing I wanted to let people know, that Humanity's team main project that they do is they've got this incredible streaming platform. And it's incredible, the programs that you've put together. I'll just see what's pulling up right here. There's Neil Donald Walsh, of course, Higher Love, Quantum Sex, and the Art of Conscious Coupling, Conscious Leadership with Steve himself, Building a Prosperous Business Through Conscious Practices, and check out their library. Their library is phenomenal. They've got all these master classes with just some of the great teachers: Wayne Dyer, God bless his soul, James Twyman, Greg Braden, Bruce Lipton, Lynn McTaggart, It goes on and on. Reverend Michael. We didn't get a chance to have as much time with Ken Foster today as I'd hoped, but Ken is a great coach. So discover your soul's purpose with Michael Beckwith and Neil Donald Walsh. Forbidden Science with Greg Braden and Nassim Harriman. So many amazing people that you've pulled together. And this is all part of your streaming platform. And Steve, tell us a little bit, how do people get this platform? How do they pick it up?
Let me let Timothy talk about that, because again, he was actually the designer, visionary of the platform.
Perfect. Tim, you're
So
up.
you can, so it is a membership, and you can certainly sign up for the membership, which is the Humanity Stream Plus membership, and you get access to everything that you see, which is right now. So just stay tuned, because as we're a nonprofit, Humanities Team is a nonprofit, our price, we're continuing to even lower this price and make it even more affordable. So stay with us. We may be announcing something along these lines soon. But even furthermore, if you're not a member, most, if not every masterclass that is on there. So if you go to humanitiesteam.org/stream, or you just search for Humanities Stream Plus, the first module is almost always unlocked. So if you see a program that you like, Discover Your Soul's Purpose with Michael Beckwith and Neil Donald Walsh, you can go and watch the first module right now for free. And this is the case for nearly all of the masterclasses. There are, I don't even know the numbers that we have right now, Steve. It might be in the hundreds of masterclasses that we have on there.
Yeah, it's $1 a day, and in the hundreds. It's incredible. It's the best value in the industry. But we're a nonprofit, so again, we're trying to get price down, not up.
Yes, and just browse around. See, there's a search tool. You can search for your favorite speaker or your favorite topic and see all the videos that are there. And somebody in chat said it's essentially a Netflix for personal and spiritual development. That's Dr. RowShanak. So thank you for that. That's exactly what it is. It is in the day where streaming platforms are becoming more ubiquitous and nearly everyone has a subscription to something. Humanity Stream Plus is focused on the conscious journey and transformational education, so that when you sit down to watch at the end of the day or beginning of the day, whenever you watch something, you're watching something that is nourishing your soul and speaking to the wisdom, the eternal wisdom that is essential in this life. So this is just a piece. And please look. Just search Humanity Stream Plus. You can read about it and experience it for yourself. That's the best.
Beautiful. Well, thank you, guys. I'm really grateful to have had you and your amazing core team with us. I'm looking forward to watching a lot of your programs over the next 10 days. And I know many of our audience will be as well. One last reminder, and then we'll go to Mystical Joyride. Again, join us tomorrow morning for the Sacred Sunday show. It's going to be a really good one. Working with my good friend, Jonathan Robinson, one of my best friends. And then we've got Reverend Temple Hayes and a pre-record with Reverend Michael Beckwith talking about our master teachers. And if any of you don't know, Michael Temple are collaborating with a whole group of people in Los Angeles, and they're doing a musical about Paramahansa Yogananda, who's actually my master teacher. And so we're going to be learning more about that amazing event that's going to be taking place in LA starting November 17th. And this musical is going on at the Biltmore Hotel in downtown LA live on November 17th. And that's where he passed away. That's where he had his Maha Samadhi. So that's a very incredible experience. We're going to learn all about that tomorrow morning on the Sacred Sunday Show, 10 o'clock in the morning, Pacific time, 1 o'clock Eastern. All right, it is time for us to close with some more wonderful mystical joyride.
All right. So part of birthing a new world is reconnecting with each other, like we're doing now, and reconnecting with the environment, because I feel like in the modern era, a lot of us have become disconnected in our own little cubicles, in our own apartments, and that's where a lot of the pain comes from. And so it's really important that we rewild ourselves, reconnect and get back in the flow and let life live us.
Run through the wild, run through the hungry for nature and trees. I became a robot, shallow and left on my knees, desperate for connection to my true identity. I hear the voice calling, the wild, wild calling me. The wild, wild calling me. Yeah. Let it go like run through the wild, run through the wild, run through the wild, run through the wild child, run through the wild, run through the wild, run through the wild, run through the wild child. I tried to ignore it, afraid to explore it and see. I was running from the darkness, but that was where my heart is. All I know is I was going crazy, bleeding slow, and the wild keeps calling me. The wild keeps calling me, yeah. Let it go like run through the wild, run through the wild, run through the wild, run through the wild child, run through the wild, run through the wild, yeah, run through the wild, run through the wild child. Open up, bloom like a flower. I'm a beast, primal power. Meditate, midnight hour. No shoes, yeah, meteor shower. Watch me run, run like a tiger, climb a tree. I'ma get higher, kiss the sky, third side wider, and many more, yeah, just like a spider. Watch me run, watch me run, watch me run, yeah. Watch me run, run, run through the wild.
Blessed spirits, we are far from the bones of our ancestors. Show us the way through this cosmic forest, for we are not greater than the trees. We are the wild. Watch me run through the wild.
Oh, let's go all turn on our cameras and twinkle. That was amazing.
Yeah.
And I love watching Eleanor Joy dancing up a storm there. Good job.
She was amazing.
Joy. And fantastic job, Mystical. And I think she shares this often, 80 years young. 80 years young.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you had her up there dancing. Happy birthday to Dia, one of our regulars. A big happy birthday to you, Dia. Thank you, you two. You are fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you for having us again.
Oh, absolutely. And stay in touch. I was born on Christmas Day. Maybe you'll have a Christmas baby.
Ah.
Yeah. And definitely we'll have you on the show. Let us know as soon as you're available. Love to have you on again. All right.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. Well, what a wonderful show this has been. And thank you again to all of the presenters, of course, to Omashar. Hope to see all of you tomorrow morning, and have a beautiful, beautiful Saturday night. And also big hello to those watching the replay. You know, thousands of people end up watching the replay. So whether you're watching this live now or you're extraterrestrials watching this thousands of years from now, studying what took place that caused the great planetary transformation, all are welcome. And we say namaste to each and every one of you. Take care, everybody. Good night. See you soon.
Okay.
Good night.